Hello and welcome to another screencast with Mr. Swan. I hope you guys had a nice week last week, and that was our catch-up week. So I've been getting a lot of work turned in, and I really do appreciate it that you guys are sending that stuff in, because it just helps me and keep up with the grading, and then also helps keep everybody kind of moving right along, so nobody's getting too far left behind. So if you still have some stuff to turn in, feel free to do that pretty quick, because I'll be grading a lot of that today, actually. So that is my goal. This is going to be a pretty quick video, so let's get started. My picture of the day today, I titled it "Pretty Pictures of Jupiter." Who doesn't love Jupiter? It's our biggest planet in our solar system, and there's a little spacecraft from NASA called Juno, and it just made its 26th perijove this past week. Perijove is a word you don't hear very often, but a perijove is the point in orbit around the planet. So let's say you have Jupiter and you have the orbit of something kind of going right around Jupiter, the point where it's the closest to the planet. They call that the point, the perijove. So this spacecraft has been up there for a long time, over a decade, and every once in a while it gets close where it gets really close to Jupiter. That's what the perijove is. And close at this type of range is over 2,000 miles, so 2,600 to be exact. But that's when we get our best pictures of not only just some of the colors, but all of the storms that Jupiter is really famous for. So even on here, you can kind of see a lot of these spirals. I'll kind of hover my mouse over a couple of them, like over here, over here, over here. This is the north part of Jupiter, and those storms are ginormous. Some of them are probably bigger than our planet. Some of them range a great amount of size and distance. So right here, you only see the top part of the clouds, but they actually go down almost 2,000 miles. So those storms are pretty ginormous. I really like these. These are raw images that have been enhanced a little bit. So if you were there in person, this is not exactly what your eyes would pick up. But it does kind of bring out a lot of that hidden detail in the light that kind of gets blurred together when we kind of take a look at things. And you can see some like the browns and the greens and the blues. It's really just a pretty spiral planet, which is great to look at from far away, because if we went there, it would be disastrous. The gravity alone would probably destroy the vessel you're going in. But that's not today, so we're doing good. So let's move right along. Actually, before I do that, I'll show you some stuff I've been working on this past week, at least for screencasting. One was noise filters, so you actually can see me and I can see myself on this. And when working with these, and hopefully my sound is better. That was something that I've been trying to work on since I've been watching these videos. And this is what it sounded like before, especially if I wasn't talking. And you might have to turn up your volume maybe to actually kind of hear the difference. But this is what it sounded like. You might hear a noise. It's like a faint hum. And then worked with noise suppression and noise gate to try to fix those. And then once you turn those on, it sounds like this. We'll do one more time off. And then back on. Pretty cool little difference, I thought. So I was happy to kind of figure those out and continue on with my learning for this. So what I have for you guys to do today. This week will be a tinge different, not really too much. It's going to be a little bit about climate. This week is, I want to do some stuff on climate change, but it's also Earth Days this week. So I want to do some stuff on that as well. So that's what I think we're going to do. So I may do this. I have, for a large amount of this year, brought you science articles. This time, I'm going to have you begin to start to bring them to me. So this is what I call the climate change and current events article. Your goal is to find a current events article, news article, and that talks about climate change. It could actually be about the weather. It could be about a really big storm. It could be about future prediction. It could be about how studies were preparing for this. As long as it somehow relates to climate change, I will definitely allow it. Your article must be electronic in form, because I need to be able to read it myself, and it must be from a reliable news source. So I put in a whole bunch of them from NOAA.gov or NASA.gov or climate.gov. Any .gov sites would be fine. Any of the major USA news networks would be good. And Reuters, BBC is fine. Associated Press is fine. Newspapers, like national ones like New York Times, or local ones like the Gazette or Times Union are also okay as well. So a lot of different choices for you to have. And your article must be recent, so it must be published in the past year at least. So sometime in 2019 and up to today. That's a pretty generous time window. When I was originally planning this out, I did it for like 2 months and I found like hundreds. So that should be more than enough. This is an individual assignment, so you got to go find out your own article and you have to do it yourself. And your goal is to read the whole thing. It should be at least one full page in length. And I have a couple of questions for you to answer about them. Most won't take you more than a second or two, such as the title. Just copy and paste that in there. The name of the author, put that in there. The date of the article, put that in there. Website link, put that in there so I have something to read after you submit it. And then in your own words, one paragraph summarizing the author's purpose for actually writing this article. Like what were they trying to gain by writing? Using your own words to describe some facts you learned about the articles. There should be at least a minimum of 3. 2 questions that are raised by the article. Maybe there could actually be questions like with the question mark in there is fine. Or maybe it's like questions that are kind of hinted about, such as if someone's talking about how these climate change will affect the amount of spending the government is doing in one part. And they're talking about like maybe a person like, I'm not really sure how this is going to work, but I know we'll look to it in the future. That in essence is a question, like how will they work some of that stuff out? So you have to read it once or twice to be able to kind of find those questions in there, but they're usually in there, but they might not always have a question mark. It could also be questions, if you're having a lot of trouble, maybe questions that you have. Maybe something that the author didn't really explain, or maybe something they kind of glossed over or did not really go into too much. Those would also work as fine as well. And then this is like, what are people doing to kind of prevent that particular issue of climate change for whatever topic that article is about? Or it could be a much more broader general purpose of, what are people trying to do overall? Or maybe something has been discussed what somebody in that article is actually doing. There were just a couple articles this past week in the Times Union that talked about some things that local people are doing for climate change. So that is my goal for you. I don't think it will take too long. The longest thing will actually be finding the article. Make sure you don't get one that's only like this long or so. That's like a few inches. Because that's not going to give you enough stuff to read through and to get a good idea of like what we should be doing with this. So take some time, find your article, read through it, fill it out, and then send it in, and then you'll be all done for today. And then our next lesson will be on Wednesday of this week. So until then, I hope you have a great day, and I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you later.